Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The record stuff is out the window. I think you just, focus on just going 1-0 every week. And, it's the thing about the NFL. You've got to, Monday, you go back, watch it, learn from it. But you got to flush it and move on.
The reality of it, focus on this game, focus on the one we got coming up, and just go out there and try to make that the best game that we played this season. And that's how we get 1-5. That's how we start getting 1-0 each and every week. And just focusing on the games that we have at hand, little details, be more efficient in the red zone, execute on third downs, and things are going to work out for us.
The things I talk about to them, we talk about finish a lot, especially in sports, right? You have to finish. As great as the defense played in the second half, I think it was 5 drives, 5 punts. It was that one drive where we couldn't get off the field and make enough plays there. So those are things, again, that have kept us from winning these games.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
Oh, we got one more guest in with us today as well. Donovan Darius going to join us for the program. He's in studio here with me. My partner in crime, Mike Dempsey, is not, as he was on assignment yesterday. I have a theory, Demps. I have a theory, because today is supposedly picture day around these parts. I think you're treating it like senior skip day. Dempsey doesn't want to need a new photo. He's in protest of the new photo, despite he has been losing some weight. Doing the Awaken one. He does. He looks great, but he's like, I don't want to deal with it. So one more day on assignment for Dempsey from the house.
Well, let me just ask a couple of things here. First of all, good morning, Donovan.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Mike.
To talk to you, even though I can't be there in person today. I will be back tomorrow eating a sumptuous breakfast that I didn't pay for.
Yes, you will.
But were we not all ready to go? Did we not have picture day 3 weeks ago?
We were ready.
We were ready to go.
So it's in protest of multiple things that it didn't happen 3 weeks ago, and
it's what it's actually in protest of. So I'm not going to get into the gory details. All right, but don't let surgeons leave things in your body that aren't supposed to be there. I'm just going to put that out there. Okay. Anyway, Tony, I was offered Baldwin plus 34.5, and I didn't take it. Was that a good call?
It would have been a good call not to take it. It wound up at 35.
Oh no! Did it?
How much money you lose, Mike?
No, I didn't. I didn't take it. Take it. I thought.
How much money were you thinking about losing?
I can't bet against my two favorites here. I don't bet on high school football. I'm kidding, folks. I'm kidding. I usually find out what happened like the next Monday, and you guys played on Monday, so I would have found out Tuesday.
Yeah.
And here I am now.
Monday was chaos, Dempsey. That's what Monday was. Baldwin couldn't get the buses to come pick him up. Thank you, Duval County. So they were about 45 minutes late getting over there. They had to reschedule it, Donovan, because of the hurricane.
Wow,
right. The game was scheduled for Friday. They said, we'll play it on Monday at 6. And when they told me Monday at 6, I was like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
With the busing schedule, I knew they would be at the mercy of Duval County's buses. I was like, well, middle school gets out at 4 o'clock. There's no way they're going to run all those routes and then be able to get over to Baldwin and get them over to Bowles. It's just not going to happen. So we get the word. Dylan's texting me right at basically 6 o'clock. He's like, we haven't left the school yet. I'm like, all right, we'll see you when we see you. They got over there about 6:45. They do the warm-up thing. Ball on tee. We're ready to go. Lightning strikes 2 miles from the stadium.
Wow.
Right? So then we had an hour weather delay. Right? So game was supposed to start at 6. We finally got on the field 7:30, 7:45. So I got home in time for the fourth quarter of the second Monday night game. It's about the time I got home, which wasn't enough for me. I think if my presence was there, DK Metcalf would have scored that touchdown and possibly won late, and I wouldn't be buying breakfast tomorrow. But that's not the way things turned out.
He did score it. They just returned it.
He did. He did score that one.
Double-D, how's your high school season going?
Wow. Well, we're similar like the Jaguars, so we're having a lot of similar feelings going around. We're 1-3 right now.
Oh, you got the one though.
You talk about rescheduling games. We actually had to play in Mount Dora on Monday. Mm-hmm. So we drove down basically past Orlando 2 hours for our game that started at 7 o'clock, and we didn't stay the night. We rolled back.
Yeah.
So we went down there and we got beat pretty badly. We have a very, very young team of freshmen and sophomores playing varsity. So we got to be pretty bad down there, and we just drove back. So, yeah, it's been a tough slate for football in Florida.
Nothing's going well.
Hey,
Florida,
by the way,
Florida State, Miami's doing all right, but everyone else, it's been a little rough. Tampa, not so bad. Up here in Duval, it's as bad as it gets right now with this team.
Who can tell me what the elevation is of Mount Dora, by the way?
1,200 feet. I have no idea.
Double D, take a stab.
Okay, all right.
It's Mount Dora.
I know. When I was there, I was like, wait a minute. I'm in Florida. Why is this campus got mountains on it? So I would say about 1,000 square feet. Well, let's go 1,500.
According to Google, average elevation 121 feet. The first answer they came up was 13 feet.
Oh, gosh.
Where'd we get Mount from in
we
this
got
whole
Mount.
thing? Like a little speed bump for the old chuck wagons to get over back in the day?
Was it like, just a really popular spot for horses?
Right.
So you had to mount the horse? Like, I do not know, what the answer to that kind of thing would be. Our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today and it's part of the reason we wanted you in with us today, Donovan. Tom Coughlin's going to be inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars on Sunday against the Colts, right? And we'll talk with you about that throughout the time we have you here with us. Which current or soon-to-be member of the Pride would most help the Jaguars this season? If you got one more year of one of these gentlemen in their primes, the options in the poll, Tony Boselli, Tom Coughlin, Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor. We only got room for 4.
No, you're missing one more. You're missing the main one that would be the difference.
Okay, and
that's
that would
Mark Brunell.
Brunell was the one.
By a long shot. I mean, because Mark got to get the ball. He has to get the ball to Jimmy. He'll get the ball to Fred. He'll do whatever he needs to do. He'll make the line go and block how they need to block. So Mark Brunell, the quarterback, you can't do it. He has to be on that list.
Yeah, there's enough problems with the football team right now that even the 2 I left off, I think both of them would get votes if I put them on, because I didn't put Brunell on the 4, and I think you got a good argument for him to be the one that you would want to add right now for the football team. And I didn't put Wayne Weaver on the 4. And I think there's an argument for part of the fan base that is just so sick of everything that's going on that they would vote that way with Shad Khan. I wouldn't. Yeah. That would be 6 of the 6 on my list personally.
I honestly don't believe that the ownership has anything to do per se with what's happening within those 60 minutes when the whistle blows. He has nothing to do with that. It's all about what you do on that field at that time. So Tony, how did you not have Mark Brunell in there?
I apologize. It's an error on my part.
Who did you have? Jimmy Smith?
I got Jimmy and Fred. I got Boselli and Tom.
And Tom.
I think you have to take Fred off, don't you?
I think Fred would be the one you'd take off.
Maybe you feel Jimmy. Okay about your running back.
Yeah, maybe Jimmy, because Brian Thomas Jr. looks like a guy that he's ready to be that guy right now. He's not ready to be Jimmy right now, but he's ready to be a guy that if they went out and threw the ball to him 20 times this week, I think we'd all go, good. Finally, do it.
Right, but I'd take another 20 to Jay Smooth on the other side.
Jimmy's no joke, right? And what was that like? In 96, you're bringing Jimmy in. Everything that went on, we've talked about that 96 season with you a lot. But when...
Well, I didn't get here until 98.
Right. When it became clear that Jimmy was the man, for this football team, because it did catch a lot of people off guard. Because the career started so poorly.
At Dallas, right?
With Dallas, right? And he gets over here. They sign him. And halfway through that 96 season, they put him on the field. It's like, well, let's see what we got with Jimmy. He's a special teams maven. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is our all-pro receiver. Basically from the moment that he walks on the field. What does having that kind of guy even on the field for you do for offense, defense, everybody that's involved in the whole thing?
Number one, it just gives you confidence and it gives you a sense of peace. And that is the fact that everybody understands that the NFL is hard and it's challenging and there's talented guys on both sides of the field. But just to know that you have a playmaker on your side, that all you have to do is put the ball in his area, call his number, and your percentages of winning that play and being successful increases dramatically. And so I think at the end of the day, when training camp and stuff starts, it's about 100 guys out there. But then when they break it down and it's the first game of the season, it's like 53, and you're looking around like, man, where is the team at? Because it's not a lot of guys. And so I think that's one of the biggest surprises, with NFL teams, there's not a lot of guys. And so when you're that guy out of the 22, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, and you're that guy, not just for this team, but you're ranked high amongst the 32 teams because of what you do. I mean, it's special. I mean, I love watching them work. I love watching matchups. I was watching a video yesterday with Champ Bailey, and they was asking him name his top 3 receivers, and he said, like he said, Jimmy Smith. He may not have gotten all the numbers and all the fame because of the media and where we at. He said, but he was one of the toughest guys to ever go against.
We've talked about it with Jimmy because of the Hall of Fame stuff. Tony finally gets in, and we're all pulling for Fred and Jimmy to get there because they deserve it, right? If you put those 2 guys in the Hall of Fame, they're Hall of Fame players. Whether they get there or not, that's the situation with the Hall of Fame. We'll see if it happens for him. But we've talked about some of the numbers with Jimmy, talking about Champ reacting to it. The only player that when Jimmy was in that run of his prime where he was going through that decade where he was a dominant force in the league, the only player in the league that had more receiving yards than Jimmy Smith was Marvin Harrison.
Wow.
And that was within like 200-300 yards. Like Jimmy was that guy. Now, Jimmy wasn't playing on a team that was doing that every year after 1999. Like it took a while for the Jaguars to get back in, to the playoff picture, and so you kind of get lost in this shuffle, as you know, while the Colts are the Colts. Mm-hmm. For that entire time Marvin's there, the Colts are the Colts. They're a perennial Super Bowl contender with Peyton Manning and everything else that was going on up there with Indianapolis. Jacksonville didn't have that luxury, as you guys know, and I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit today, but what happened with that team after 1999, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that, but we'll get into what's going on with the 2024 Jaguars a lot. And I thought it was interesting. I mentioned the poll question to you, and your first reaction was, where's Mark? I think that says a lot about how you feel about where this football team is right now. We'll get into that. 0-4, the Jags, with the Colts coming to town this week. We'll talk to Donovan about what's going on with Tom Coughlin, going into Pride. Obviously a well-deserved honor, and what it was like to play for that guy. We had Tommy Mack in studio with us yesterday, filling in for Jeff Lageman, and Tommy's got all the stories on Tom because he did it with him at BC and he did it with him here in Jacksonville. So he knew Tom Coughlin when he was still a developing young man, 18 years old. Yeah. He's been around TC for a long time. We'll talk with Donovan Darius about that as we get into it. It's a Wednesday edition of Jaguars Today. Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Donovan Darius, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Look, if you have a goal in mind, you got to figure out what you want to do. Then you're going to figure out the path on how to get there. Maybe you want to make a trip somewhere. Well, you got to look up all the prices of the hotels and the airfare, all the steps along the way. Well, guess who knows the steps along the way to successful weight loss and maintenance? That's Awaken 180. That's right. They've been doing this for years now with over 21,000 customers, 98% plus satisfaction rating from all the folks who've tried Awaken 180. You'll lose weight. You'll eat to lose weight, but you'll lose it rapidly. And then the best part of it is you'll maintain that weight loss for as long as you follow the coaching and guidance you'll get from Awaken 180. Did I mention that coaching and guidance is free? Hit your goal weight, whatever that is, 20, 40, 60, 100 or more pounds. And once you do, it's free coaching and support for life. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Be the next success story. Call 844-346-1800 or schedule a free consultation online simply by going to awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. He's our pathfinder through the weeds of quarterback chaos.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drip. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
Northwest Florida's largest RV show is coming to the Jacksonville Equestrian Center. It's the Jacksonville Fall RV Show, Thursday through Sunday, October 3rd through 6th, with hundreds of RVs on display, lifestyle booths, plus register to win a $250 gift card each day. Adults $10, kids under 12 free. Seniors save half off Thursday. First responders, military, active, and retired get half off every day. We'll see you at the Jacksonville Fall RV Show.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jacks for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need. need.
When you need a plumber,
call Duck Duck Rooter.
When you need your septic tank pumped out,
call Duck Duck Rooter.
When you need any septic or plumbing issue fixed right the first time,
call Duck Duck Rooter.
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services. DuckDuckRooter.com. It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Prosser here. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, so get started. Even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well, so call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
RJ Saunders here, sports lovers. I recently took a tip from Frank Frangie when I needed to send flowers to my mother. Frank told me that Kuhn Flowers is the only florist he ever uses. So that's what I do now. I use Kuhn Flowers. Find them online at kuhnflowers.com.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
A tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Just believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Keeping up with Seminole Nation.
Join the Noles and their road to repeat as ACC champs.
Stay close to the Seminoles with the Florida State Seminole Report. Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Donovan Darius, Dylan Denmark here with you. Donovan and I, we were talking Jaguars football the whole break. We're trying to fix it. We're doing our part for what we can do. We have ideas, thoughts. I don't know if it'll fix anything with an 0-4 football team dealing with what this team is dealing with, Donovan. I do think it's interesting. I don't know if you saw the report yesterday from Jordan Schultz, but he had a report out there that was talking about he's talked to some of the guys in the Jaguars locker room, and there doesn't seem to be any real confidence in the head coach right now from the guys that he talked to, that he described it as the locker room is gone in regards to the head coach. We're 4 games in. to the 2024 season. I know there was a point where everyone knew the team was about to move on from Tom Coughlin. It's not like it was a surprise to everyone in that locker room when it happened. Were you 4 games into that season where at the end of it, it happened, thinking, now's the time, he's got to go? Like, when did the locker room, in your opinion, start losing confidence in Tom Coughlin during the end of that reign?
Yeah, well, I think it was probably the last season that he was here.
Sure.
And I think, of course, the next season he was gone. And so throughout that his last year, what was that, the 2002 year? We went 6-10 during that year. And so as we were losing and we were not in position for playoffs, everybody and Coach Coughlin was trying to be the same in terms of his expectation, his demeanor, his approach. Guys in some way kind of block him out. It doesn't have the same effect and impact in terms of his words and what he's demanding, because we're like, hey, you're going to be gone. And so people kind of almost tune you out a little bit, and they start thinking about, okay, let me just go out here and let me just play. And they're not really giving any, whole lot of extra effort and whatnot. And so the locker room kind of, they'll tune you out. And I think for Doug Peterson, being an 0-4 and then what we lost, a lot of games last year at the end, his approach to them is not making a difference. They're not responding. We were talking during the break. One of the things you have to have with any team is that you have to have an alpha. You have to have someone as a coach that the players respect, look up to, and they demand excellence. Coach Coughlin was that for us here. So that meant that he was that alpha, and then his assistant coaches, they had to just implement the expectations and keep us accountable. And so, but right now, Coach Peterson is the head coach, and his demeanor, whether it's in press conference or with the team as a whole, is more kind of almost a beta type, just hopefully they get it done, we'll figure it out. But if you're going to have that type of mentality and that type of approach, you have to have assistant coaches that demand excellence, and I don't know if we have that.
I think people can often get those ideas entangled with, players coach, that kind of thing. I don't think being a players coach is a problem. I thought Del Rio was a players coach, but he was an alpha.
Yeah.
Like, he was all alpha. So you can be both of those things. It feels like Doug Peterson right now is a players coach, and the whole situation with Press Taylor has been frustrating for all of us for a number of years now. Just say who's calling plays. I don't think it's that difficult to just say who's calling the plays on offense, but he's been unwilling to do it for a couple of years now. So every week he gets asked these questions, and this week he kind of snapped on it. And I can understand if he's frustrated by it, but you're frustrated by it because you won't answer it, right? We know somebody's calling the plays. Just answer the question. You could have handled this anytime you wanted to during this entire run. It does feel like Nielsen has that kind of personality as the defensive coordinator, that I can see where that's coming from on defense, and it's why they've been able to hold as steady as they've been able to hold, right? Like, they're not making the big plays, and there's obviously some things that we can talk about where they're coming up short on that side of the ball, but they're not bad on defense right now, and there's so much going chaotically wrong on the offensive side of the ball in situations where we're used to seeing a bunch of guys that make plays that we've seen them make over and over. They're not making them right now. It's hard to explain, and I think you're on the right path of whatever's going on, because Doug's personality is Doug's personality. And I don't think that you lose the locker room 4 games into the season, but it is interesting that players are already willing to talk to anybody about how they feel about the coach 4 games into the season. That's, the lights are flashing.
Well, here's the thing. Every player, every team you have, players are always going to have something to say about the coach, whether good, bad, or indifferent. But it's magnified when you're not playing the best that you can as well.
Right.
Because you're looking for somebody. It's like they say, hurt people. You're frustrated. So it's easy sometimes to talk about other people's problems and challenges and what they're not doing, when at the end of the day, the first thing you got to do is look in that mirror and say, well, what am I doing? And so I remember while we were playing and through our years, and people always say, what are some of the differences between the generational coaching and then it's the teams? One of the things, as I mentioned, about our coaches is that they held us to the highest level of expectation and standards. And that was preached and talked about all the time, whether it was in private, whether it was in the meeting room, whether it was in the team room, whether it was in the press. They always had that. I'm going to share with you guys. When we had a coach called Frank Gans, his name was Crash. He was a special team coach, a military guy, and he used to come with all these stories, but he would get on anybody. And I had posted yesterday on the YouTube just an 8-minute video of when we lost the game against Cleveland, and we're watching a special teams meeting. And in this meeting, he is basically going through everything and attacking problems. And it didn't matter who you was. It didn't matter. He was going to call you out. And so here were some of the 6 things that he had every time. He preached all the time. Number 1, he preached about attacking problems. He said a problem is anything that keeps you from your highest level of performance. Number 2, high standards. Number 3, it was talking about tough, small commitments to details. Number 4, he talked about create ongoing, getting better. Number 5, he talked about midstream adjustments. Number 6, he talked about painstaking attention to details. He preached that all the time, no matter what it was. He would talk about how players need to ask other players, hey, help me get better. That was not good enough in practice. Don't brother-in-law me. He would talk about, hey, man, we trying to get better. We got to play the percentages on our side, the averages in our favor. He would give you things to think about and give you things to do to where like he said, if you're not giving your all in practice, he going to call you out. And I don't think we're having any of that in our team right now. I don't see players holding each other accountable, and then one of the reasons why is because they're not holding themselves accountable to that highest level. And when you have that, you have a lot of finger pointing, you have a lot of people being quiet, or you have somebody making a lot of noise that shouldn't make a lot of noise. And it's frustrating either way.
I think you mentioned Burnell, for the poll, which obviously brings in the conversation about Trevor Lawrence and where we're at with him. He gets the big contract this offseason. It's unclear right now. He's the guy that I would circle is what I was just talking about. I've seen him make these plays. I know he can make these plays. I know he can make the plays he didn't make on Sunday against Houston. If he makes one of them, they win the game. That's the margin in the NFL, though, when you're playing one-score games is make the play, right? When you have the opportunity to make the play, it would be the most stunning thing I've ever seen around the Jaguars if Trevor Lawrence was the guy that was chirping about the head coach at this point. I doubt you're hearing that from him. He just doesn't have that kind of personality. But what are you seeing when you're watching Trevor Lawrence through the first month of this season?
I mean, I see what I've seen his whole career. And I've seen someone who was successful in college, who had a better team than the other team. And so his strength, whether it's his size, his ability to throw the ball, his consistency and the demeanor with the guys in terms of a brother, I saw that throughout. One of the things I consistently saw was over the years was I kept seeing all the turnovers, and that kind of stood out. I started seeing a lot of the bad decision making at key points in time, and I would see some of the missing of the obvious throws beyond 10 yards, and I would see that over and over and over, and I was like, he has the pedigree to, to be the guy, or at least Jacksonville wants him to be that guy, but he doesn't have that. One of the worst words you can ever have described for you in athletics or anything is a P word, and it's potential. You never want to be considered, that guy just has a great potential, because potential is untapped ability. You don't want to walk around with a lot of potential. You want that potential. You want that ability to be shown on the field, or wherever you may be. And so for him, he's been consistently making some of those bad plays and not really doing it consistently. And so it's tough because, like you said, whether it's pressure or whatever it is, he has the ability to do it. And why he's not doing it, I'm sure it's frustrating for him, definitely. But I'm sure, it's frustrating. And that's one of the reasons, among many, why we're sitting at 0-4.
I think we talked a lot in the first 3 years of Trevor's career. The turnovers, as you mentioned, they were a big part of this story. Right through he's turned it over one time this year. Now, it was a big moment in that Buffalo game. It was a bad throw. Again, one of those moments where I know he can make that throw. I've seen him make that throw. I expected any NFL quarterback to make that throw. He missed it, right? But it's the one turnover he's had this year. It's clear to me watching him this season more than the first 3, it does feel like he's playing tight for whatever reason. And I think part of it is he wants to be the guy that's protecting the football much better than he has in his first 3 years. With the results they're getting on field right now, are we getting to a point where you almost have to go to him and say, let it rip? Whatever that guy was that we got the first 3 years, we'll deal with the turnovers if they come, right? So we lose worse. Okay, we got to figure out a way to win a game, and I think the only way they're going to get back on a path to win is if that guy gets back on track, and it may take one of those moments where it's just, you got to go, man. You got to go, and if it means you get hit in the pocket and fumble because you stayed in there too long, we'll deal with the consequences of that, right? Like, we know you're not going anywhere. You're our guy. For the next 5 years, you're our guy. So we need to figure out something to get him to wake up. He's protecting the ball just fine. It's all the other stuff that's getting in the way right now.
Yeah, I think in this situation, what you do is instead of just telling him, just kind of let it go, I think you have a conversation with him and you find out from him, because he's been doing this, 3-4 years now, and you ask him and you sit down with him, what are the things that you do best? What are the things that you like best? What are the plays that you like? Because there may be a quarterback that say, Coach, let me get out the pocket a little bit more, or let me take some of those, let me take some of those 7-step drops, or let me just, throw the ball down here. Find out from him. Okay. I know usually offense coordinators, they're going to create, they're going to create the meal. Okay, they're going to bring the ingredients, and then you got to go out there and just cook the meal. I think in this situation, talk to him and find out, Trevor, what are the plays that you think are successful? Because in his mind, if he doesn't see this play being successful, and a lot of times, and it comes down to him, it's not going to be successful. Right. And so if you sit down with him, it's not Press Taylor, it's not Coach Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, he knows enough plays. He's played enough plays, and find out from him, what are the plays based off of your experience, your expertise, your professional, what plays you think going to work? Because when he's lining up and he's calling that play, he's calling a play that he feels and he knows should work. And then you let him, when you say let him rip it, then you let him go out there based off of those script plays. Even if you say, Trevor, give me your top 10 plays. Give me your top 10 plays. And you turn it around, you sit there and you let Trevor go to the board and write down what those top 10 plays are. And then from there, you create the game plan sheet. You create the script. Because this is what our number one quarterback said will work. And then what that's going to do, because you got to think about it, the life of a head coach, office coordinator, comes down to that quarterback's performance. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And so if he's the one now on the board, giving you what he thinks is going to work, now it's up to him to go out and do it. And I think, again, it takes a lot of humility for you to say that. Because right now you listen to Doug. Hey, the game was called great. I thought Press did a great job, because they feel like they're bringing the ingredients, but Trevor's not cooking. The heat is not up high enough. Well, let Trevor bring the ingredients, and then let them cook. Let them call the plays that he suggests, that he thinks will work out well, and let him call in the game. I think that's probably the only thing that you can do right now to take to give him that autonomy of ownership and control.
Can you stick around with us for one more segment? I still want to get into Coughlin with you here. I want to talk Coughlin. Want to talk a little bit about 2002 and just how that team reacted to the end of 1999 and what kind of effect that had on you guys going into the 2000 season. Donovan Darius alongside Mike Dempsey. He's on location. He's with us today, but he's on location on assignment yesterday. Dylan Denmark, Tony Smith. We'll continue with Donovan when we return. You're listening to Jaguars Today here on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. You're in North Florida. You know it's hot. It's going to get up around 90 degrees real feel today, but you want to be cool inside. When your AC goes out, you need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. Call Lickety Split. You're going to get same-day emergency service for your AC. You've seen their trucks all over town with dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. They service all of Northeast Florida. For quality and care, call the hair. 4.8 average on Google reviews. Check them out online at licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra. Maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
Are you an experienced plumber or welder with MedGas certification and you're tired of being undervalued? It's time to make the move to Local 234 plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. With the best pay in the business, you'll earn $36.50 an hour with benefits that's almost $50. It's not just a job, it's a career that values you. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg. But Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There's a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Hi Jags fans, Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sports talk sometimes gets confusing. I'm Hayes Carlyon, here to clean up the confusion. Join me afternoons on The Frangie Show for Cleaning Up with Hayes, brought to you by Molly Maid on 1010XL.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Pete Prisco of CBS Sports with his evaluation of the 0-4 Jaguars.
The roster isn't very good right now. Let's be real. You know, you want to point the blame. Tony, you said you want to blame the players. You can blame the players all you want. It's not a great roster. So start at the top. The drafts haven't been great. When you look at it from top to bottom, where are the top 15 players in the league in each position? Do you have any? You have maybe one or two. It's just not a good roster. And so it starts with the general manager. It starts with the personnel department.
Pete Prisco of CBS Sports, Monday on Jaguars Happy Hour. The Jags return home to host the Colts on Sunday. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
To give you an idea of where the temperature is with this Jaguars team right now, your head coach is answering questions just a few moments ago about whether or not he's lost the locker room, because there is a report about him potentially having lost the locker room, and he says, no, I have not lost the locker room. We'll try to keep in touch with whatever Doug is saying. He's speaking to the media right now. It's not a great situation down there, as we know, and we've gotten into here, Donovan. I wanted to talk to you about 2000 because I think it had the potential to go the way that it feels like 2024 for the Jaguars is at least going in the direction of right now. The way last season ended obviously has an impact on what's happening right now with the team. Like, for whatever reason, they still haven't been able to completely move past what happened at the end of last season. I think it's a little silly. It's a different year, different pieces are here, a part of what's going on right now, but they reward Josh Hines-Allen. They reward Trevor Lawrence, right? They've been willing to back their guys going into this season. They've gotten no reward for that from them to this point in the year. We'll see what that looks like here they're going to play 13 more. Whether you're excited about it or not, they're going to play 13 more. But I did want to talk to you about 2000 because of the fans still talk about 99 in such a unique way, right? It's the best team that the franchise has ever had. They're 14-2. What happens against the Titans in that AFC Championship game happens. You come back in 2000. They start that season 2-1, so they didn't start the way this team has started, obviously, but then they had that big losing streak. And going back and looking at it, I had not thought about the 2000 season in a long time, but having you in, I wanted to go back and look at some of these things. And they have that long losing streak after starting 2-1, and it feels like at that point the season can go off the rails, right? And you were in the locker room, so you have a better sense of this than I do. But the back half of that year, they got the 4-game winning streak. They played a couple tough games at the end of the year. They lost both to finish 7-9 that season, but it felt like a team that was on the brink of breaking at one point in that 2000 team. What kept it together?
Well, you mentioned about the beginning. Well, 1999, the team was stacked. From a cap standpoint, they invested so much money into guys to put the best team on the field. And going 14-2 basically showed that we had the best team and we got the money's worth. And so come 2000, we started losing players because of the cap. They couldn't keep and retain guys. And so we could – even though we were coming off a AFC Championship game, we didn't have the AFC Championship team and players on the field in that 2000 year. And so for us to start 2-1 with new players, that's just like any team saying, hey, doesn't matter what we did last year, let's start all over, let's all gel together. But what we saw after a while was we didn't have that 1999 quality team of players executing at the highest level consistently over and over and over. And that's what led us to go 2-6 in that year. And you mentioned later in the year, we had a 4-game winning streak, which at the end of the day, that was just, we talk about potential. That was just, our ability being realized. The parity in the league is so small, meaning that any team can win on any Sunday. We just found a way to get it done. And it's not that it was a Jaguar mojo or anything. Somehow, some way, you look at the NFL, you can win a game by 1 point, lose a game by 2 points. So the score can be so close, and you just find a way to win. And so in those last 4 games that we won in the 2000 season, we just found a way to win. There wasn't a mojo moment. It wasn't something heroic. It wasn't a team speech. It wasn't anything. It was just we went out there and we just found a way to win. And you look at these teams now that are at the top level consistently, they build a confidence and a mentality that we're going to find a way to win. Mm-hmm. And when you have an average team with average players and no real accountable team leaders, they may not always find a way to win.
Coughlin still had 2 more years here in Jacksonville after that. He was here in 01 and 02, so 2000 wasn't the end of it for Coughlin. You got to play for him during your early time here in Jacksonville, obviously. What is it about Tom Coughlin that created the opportunity for a season like 2000, which, again, looking back on it, feels like a season that could have gone the other way, right? With that kind of losing streak in it, you have the guys in that room that were a member of that 1999 team that are looking around going, we got to figure this out. What is it about Tom Coughlin that allows a team that does feel like it could be sliding in that direction to kick themselves out of it and find a way to win 4 games in a row?
That's a great question, and I think the answer to that comes down to a couple of things. Number one, he was consistent. He was consistent in his expectations. And his expectation, and I read a list of things earlier, but he attacked problems. Like, he attacked it. Anything keeping us from our highest level performance, he was willing to attack it. So it didn't matter how much you were getting paid or where you were on the roster. He was going to attack a problem, and he always kept the focus on us getting better. And that meant on the practice field and onto the game field. His mentality, his philosophy, which is, truly is totally true, is you win the game on Sunday, on that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Your practice time, your execution, what you do before practice, during practice, you getting to the ball, you throwing the ball, you blocking to the whistle, playing your technique longer than your opponent, you having painstaking attention to details. You doing that during the week allowed you, when you went to Sunday, to let your game be like practice and your practices be like your game. And so because he was so consistent, you never got caught up into just the results. You got caught up in focusing on the process. And I think right now, the fact that we're not winning, the results is a lot of times part of the process. And so his leadership, and again, we talk about him going to the pride of the Jaguars, I think is well-earned, well-deserved for him being able to take an organization on his shoulder, offense coordinator, head coach, general manager. I mean, he's well-deserving of it. But his number one thing was that he was always consistent, even to the time when in that 2002 season where we went, 6-10 or so, and he knew he was on his way out. He was consistent, trying to get us better.
Donovan, Dempsey and I have talked about this over the years. You're one of our favorite former players that we get access to. You're a great dude, an awesome guy. You were an awesome football player. We talk about you for the pride when it comes up as well, and maybe that's in the future for you. We'll see. We're pulling for you in that regard. What has Tom Coughlin meant for you as a professional, and what did that mean to impact the kind of man and player that you eventually became?
Well, I think, again, coming here and understanding, you see leadership and you see it exemplified. He wasn't just talk. He actually walked the walk. He would get here to the stadium 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. He was consistent about what he did. His meetings, they were always giving us information we can use. They were never, as we say, feeding us, giving us candy and telling us lies. I mean, his expectation, his organization, how he did things was so, I would say, militant, very structured. So that way you took the guessing game out. You know, was he a hard coach in terms of he didn't treat players differently? Yeah, he was. And in some cases that helped, and at the end it kind of hurt. But at the end of the day, you knew what you was getting out of him. And so the fact that he came to work, he expected high-level performance. He put everything into everything he did as a young man coming to a professional world with family and kids. You got a chance to respect and see leadership, you know what I mean, at its best. He had the whole world on his shoulders, the whole city of Jacksonville and all the responsibilities. And to see him manage it, you know, and be successful at it really gave us opportunity and expectation that, you know what, that's what it looks like. That's why this organization had basically playoffs in the first, you know, I mean, several years of their career. And so he's meant a lot to me. I remember when he was, you know, years after I got a chance to get playing, we went to an event, and I just pulled him to the side and said, Coach, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything you've ever done. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for coming to Syracuse when I had my pro day, and we sat down and we got a chance to talk, and you grilled me on things, and I was able to answer that, and you chose to invest in me to give me an opportunity to live out a dream. And so thank you for that. And so I'll forever be grateful and thankful for Coach Coughlin and his wife, Judy, for everything that they did for not only me and my family, but for this city and the team as a whole.
I know we always try to get you in before Alumni Weekend whenever it's going on for the Jaguars anyway, because you're always a part of it. When it happens here in town, it's happening this week with everything that's going on with TC. I'm sure you guys will be celebrating him and the honor that he's going to be getting this weekend. What do you look forward to most when they announce these kind of things, Alumni Weekend, where you get to be around all the guys again?
Well, the biggest thing and the reason why the Legends community was started and why teams do this is because you get a chance to bring guys back together. Like, you know, guys, even though we played in one city, we can live all over the country.
No doubt.
And so to bring guys back together that you haven't seen, you haven't heard from, it's a great thing because you start rehashing some memories and whether guys were jokesters, pranksters, whatever it is, and you get a chance to just catch up and check up on one another because everybody's living life and life is happening to everybody. And so to kind of come back together, to be reunited around a game that we loved and we played and we gave so much to is a great opportunity to kind of refresh us and just remind us of the things that, hey, you know, I mean, these are your brothers that you'll always forever have.
I always think about like Tony Brackens, who's kind of, you know, he's not here. He's doing his thing. He's got his farm. You know, he's got his ranch. He does what Tony Brackens does. But it's fun to watch you guys get excited. You know, when Tony comes back into the building and you get to be around him. I'm curious to see if he's going to be there this week because it is TC and the honor that's going to him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I can remember a few years ago when they were doing the 25th anniversary team, right? And T-Brack just happened to be joining us in studio for the pregame that week. And he had just got announced. I think he was at 6 or 7 on the list, something like that. And we had to inform him. We were like, how do you react to, you know, being the 7th best player, you know, in franchise history? He's like, oh, that's nice. Like he's so unaware of those. He's the most unassuming monster I've maybe ever seen in the National Football League. And it is fun to watch you guys get excited about, you know, that camaraderie, being back in the building together for, even if it is just an afternoon. Y'all do dinner and something together too.
We will have some events, something that they'll kind of put together. And that's why even guys that are here locally or I just reach out to, you know, everybody knows or whatever that I created a lot of videos and I had the camera around all the time. And so getting a chance to show these guys this, you know, ourselves from that time is amazing. I mean, you can't imagine, you know, how many guys like, yo, Dub, you know, thank you so much for that. Like I was trying to tell my kid that I was actually pretty good when I played, you know, and now you sent me some video of that and, you know, or this, that, and the other. And so, and just to see guys as their young self and then it just takes them back as well. Like, oh, wow, I remember when I was there. I remember that moment.
Yeah.
And so whether it's videos, whether it's conversations, whether pictures, whatever it is, it's always great to be able to reflect back to a great time in your life.
Donovan, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Thank you,
so
man.
much for coming in and joining us for the hour here and talking TC and whatever this situation happens to be. The quagmire that the Jaguars are in right now, hopefully they pull themselves. What are your expectations for the rest of 2024 for this team?
What? I really don't have any expectations because, I don't have any expectations because I don't know enough about what their mindset is and what their approach is. If I knew that, then I can try to set expectations. But I'm just on the outside, just like everybody else, desiring and wanting the team to be successful. And so that's my expectation, is that the Jaguar fans are still going to try to support the best they can. They're going to celebrate when they win, and they're going to try to support them when they lose. And so my expectation is that I'm going to be one of the many that try to support the Jaguars, you know what I'm saying, when they lose, and celebrate them when they win.
I know you're working on the high school football thing. You're working on archiving all that stuff for all of us to have access to at some point in time. What else you got going on right now?
Well, basically that's for the most part, and just supporting my kids and whatnot. They're more adults now. And then the foundation, working on some programs that we're going to be putting together, for families pretty soon.
Donovan, you're the best.
All right, man. Thank you. Hey, thank you guys so much for everything. Jaguar fans, Donovan. I know it's tough. Keep going, man. Keep holding on. Keep hanging in there.
No doubt. Donovan Darius joining us in studio for the first hour. Johnny O just walked in as well. He'll be with us for the second hour of the program. Mike Dempsey alongside Dylan Denmark, Tony Smith. Jaguars Today continues in a moment here on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Get the coach's perspective.
Constant improvement, every day, every week.
Doug Peterson joins the Frangie Show Fridays at 4:05.
This group is eager to win.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
The Golf Club of Southampton has plenty going on, from a great round to a round with your buds, soaking up some football and great grub. Every Saturday and Sunday at Southampton, enjoy their game day special. Wings tossed in your favorite sauce and a cold pitcher of beer. Membership opportunities to take advantage of, too. Join Southampton with a paid initiation, and you'll get a $500 gift card. Perfect for golf, pro shop purchases, or the clubhouse. Check it out. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Attention veterans, the Fed has done it. They've lowered interest rates, the moment we've all been waiting for. And at Loan Pronto, they've lowered mortgage rates along with it. It's Prosser here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6%, Loan Pronto can do a streamlined refi, lowering your monthly payment with no income verification and no appraisal. Veterans can now access up to 100% of their home's equity and turn that into cash. You can get 50, 75, even 100 grand or more with no junk fees and no hassle with an APR in the low fives. So you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, and car loans. Veterans typically cut their monthly payments by $850. At Loan Pronto, they respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now for a free rate quote with no credit pull. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing sports. Fall and winter registration is underway. Log on to i9sports.com and see all they've got to offer. Kids 3 and up. You can enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for fall and winter. Great locations added like Fort Family Field, Westside Middle, and Duval Charter Bay Meadows. It's all online at i9sports.com.
This is Keith Scott with Veterans Wholesale Cabinets. We are Northeast Florida's cabinet experts and your best option to elevate your home improvement project for both homeowners and contractors, and attention to detail to every project. VeteransWholesaleCabinets.com.
This is Paige, owner of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. People ask me all the time what's healthy, and that's hard because healthy is different from losing weight, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle. There are a lot of foods out there that are healthy foods, but they're not going to support your weight loss, and that's what we're here to help with. We're here to help you get in the healthy foods that are going to help you lose weight. The Awaken 180 difference is our coaches. It's our team. You can find things online about weight loss, but you try them yourself and they just don't work. And that's because everyone is different. And that's what our coaches are so skilled at helping you figure out.
They certainly figure it out. This is Mike Dempsey. And as you all know, I dropped my 25 pounds in just 4 weeks thanks to Awaken 180. They did the work. I just followed my plan. They did the same for Matt Hayes, and I'd say they hit the target with Hacker, about to reach the 100-pound mark. Let them do it for you. Reserve your consultation at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Despite the record, Florida head coach Billy Napier acknowledged the special talents he has at the most important position on a football team.
You got a guy who's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and then you got this young player who it's undoubtedly brings a level to the team that I think can help the team be better.
Georgia head coach Kirby Smart sees the Auburn offense as stopping themselves rather than what the opponent presents on defense.
These guys, they're not getting stopped or turning the ball up. Look at the stats of what they've done. Just look them go up and down the field.
FSU head coach Mike Norvell confirmed the change at quarterback for the Knowles game against Clemson.
Yeah, he's going to be out for this Saturday. We still got some further testing to see what the longevity of that is going to keep him out, but most likely be the next couple weeks.
At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11:02, it's 82 degrees. Time and Center brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Osher. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
The senior writer joining us now, Johnny O, in studio with us. He got here in time to say hello and goodbye to Donovan as they tagged each other in here on the show.
Always good to see Donovan.
Today, no doubt.
Goes back a long way.
Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey here with you as I enjoyed, as I've described it, about an hour-long reprieve, mostly into Tom Coughlin talk and what that meant. And we could do more TC talk with you, Johnny O, but I think we're going to get back into 0-4 and how we fix this team. I know you would appreciate just an hour of Tom Coughlin talk.
Well, there was a time in my life where I had more than enough of that. But first I need to say hello to Mike. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm well, John. How are you?
Good. Just wanted to greet. So
yeah.
Now we can get into it.
Yeah.
It's better if we don't see each other at least once a month.
That kind of works, doesn't it?
We can hear each other. That's fine.
We've heard each other Sunday and now today, and I think this is the sweet spot of our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you entirely.
Trying to keep everyone updated on what Doug Peterson has to say. He spoke about a half hour ago. He did mention an injury update. Evan Ingram, he's calling day-to-day right now, said he will participate in individual drills for the football team. Obviously missed the last 3 games. They could desperately use him back as part of this offense. Josh Hines-Allen still in the concussion protocol, so unclear what his availability might be for this weekend against the Indianapolis Colts. That'll be more resolved as we go through the next couple of days. He's obviously got to get out on the practice field before we'll know with Josh Hines-Allen. But for now, still in the concussion protocol. Just how big would it be with all the chaos that the team has around him right now? How much of a balm could the re-addition of Evan Ingram into this offense be for everything that's kind of colliding against each other right now?
It could be nice. I mean, Brenton Strange has not been bad at all. He has blocked really, really well, and when called upon, has caught the ball well. There's certainly a comfort level in terms of probably 2 or 3 times a game when you feel like you're getting in trouble. You can design, or you can have a couple of things designed to go to Evan that can be, I guess, more part of what you do, if that makes sense, as opposed to Brenton Strange, who feels like sort of still they have a couple of things for him, but you're probably not going to feed him for a few plays in a row to get you out of trouble. So yeah, he's one of your. He's supposed to be one of your 5 or 6 guys who matter and lift you. And when you're without those guys, you're not as good.
It sounds like Doug is at least trying to put in the player's mind. I can remember a couple years ago when they made the trip up to Tennessee, right? And he got in front of the players and talked about the history of this franchise against that franchise and what it means for the fans.
Boy, it seems like a long time ago.
Right? It does.
Yeah, right. It just struck me. Yeah, that's right. He did that.
But he pulled that card a couple of years ago, and they responded the way they did in that game. You know, Trevor's pointing up at the scoreboard when Titans players are hitting late. Like, it was an amazing day. The stiff arm to the ground. Like, all those things were happening on that day for the football team. Doug, speaking again in the last hour or so, said that he has talked to the team about the importance of this week. And obviously they're 0-4. They're aware. But he talked about the history of the franchise, Coughlin getting into the pride. They're wearing the throwbacks, right? There are a lot of things. From a fan perspective, there is a lot on the line this weekend because they are honoring TC.
Sure.
They are wearing the Prowlers, which the fans have been begging for now since they went away, right? They've wanted those uniforms back on their players' back. Well, they're going to get it this week against the Colts team that the Jags have had a lot of success against in this building, right? Especially recently. It's been a long time since the Colts have won here, so I do think he's trying to reach for some of that. 2022 was different because the team was in a good spot, right, when they were going on that road trip
Wasn't
to
great
Tennessee.
Spot, though. I mean, they
but
were
it wasn't
4 and
this.
7, right?
It wasn't this.
Or they were 5 and 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they still...
And I think the next week was Detroit, and then they didn't lose again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct. Look, right now, Doug has to reach for his best card, right? And that's probably the best card is emphasizing those things, emphasizing that, as we talked about during the break, it's a weird 0-4 because it's not stretching it to say that they should have won a couple of these games or could have, however you say it, but they didn't. So it feels more awful than it actually is, but either one of those things is still bad, if that makes sense. So, yeah, you play that card. You talk about the importance of the history. You talk about the fact that there's players here who are part of the tradition and the core of the franchise coming in. And frankly, the guy who built the franchise is being honored and will be his biggest day that there will ever be for him at this stadium or in this town with this team, probably ever until he gets into the Hall. And even this is a bigger deal locally than the Hall because of the ceremony. So you play that, and you hope that it gives you something.
Yeah, we'll see if it does. It does feel like they're in kind of a desperate place right now.
Well, they are because, I don't want to overstate the obvious, but you lose on Sunday, and then I'm always curious. I stay out of the abyss of the comment sections, right? But you hear the buzz, and the buzz if they lose Sunday, well, they can't even beat the Colts. Because there's always at home this trump card of, well, you've beaten them so many times in a row. But you lose this, and now you don't even have that in your arsenal. So that's not something I don't think that is a theme among players and what's really going on. But it'll sure be a theme with the fans, as it should be, because it's open season right now at 0-4.
Yeah, and the portion of the fan base that is still willing to be optimistic at 0-4 right now is willing to say, well, they're going to come back from London 3-4. Right? Which they're still willing to say that. Well, they can't say that if they lose Sunday.
No, you can't. There's certain things you can't say, and that's one of them.
And part of the thinking they're going to win the next 3 games is they never lose to the Colts here. So they're not going to lose to the Colts here. It does feel like that's kind of the last thing that the real diehard, they're never going to lose fans are holding on to is, well, they never lose to that team here. So I can at least hold on to that. I don't know how they're all going to react if you take that away from them on Sunday.
No, it sort of feels like the Kate Winslet character in Titanic holding onto the raft. It's but you have to hold on to that raft. You have to hold on to something. And I think the other thing they can tangibly hold on to is if they can get out of the abyss of feeling 0-4 and the disappointment of Sunday, is that you did a bunch of things well enough to beat a good team on the road. And I know you didn't do it, but it's so hard at 0-4, and it's hard for players too, to look at it objectively and see what you did in a game and say, okay, well, that is something we could build on. There's reason for belief in this because at 0-4, that becomes so difficult. So to me, that's their challenge this week. Doug certainly said many of the right things that you want to hear today, but they've sort of done that 4 weeks in a row now. So you got to keep going back. Until Sunday at 1, you just don't want to hear it.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. It's always been true, and it certainly is true of an 0-4 football team. It doesn't mean you've said everything wrong. You've done nothing right enough to this point in the season to win a football game. That has to change this week. Want to get to the reports about Davante Adams and how interested the Jags should or shouldn't be in making any kind of pursuit of Davante, if that's actually something that's on the table. We'll discuss that as we get through the second hour of the show today. We'll get your reaction, John, to the reports about losing the locker room with Doug Peterson, which Jordan Schultz put out there yesterday after having talked to some players in that room. So we'll continue to react to that as we try to get everybody ready for what's going to happen on Sunday when the Colts come to town and Tom goes into the Pride and everything that's involved in all those things. Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Johnny O, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Everybody, Mike Demps here for Dandy Foods, sandwiches, subs. Absolutely. I know somebody, though, who may be looking at Dandy's breakfast menu very soon, like as in tomorrow. And if you are hungry for breakfast any time of day, just know you can pull into an area gate station, enjoy a little bit of their AC, but head right to the fresh case and enjoy just a wide variety of breakfast choices. And you know breakfast is as good at 2 in the morning as it is at 8 in the morning, as it is at 2 in the afternoon. So swing in, Try their soft flaky croissants, their French toast, absolutely delicious, buttermilk biscuits, light tasty maple waffles, sizzling country sausage, black forest ham, thick sliced bacon, on and on it goes with the peppered fried eggs and the creamy Wisconsin cheddar cheese and so many more offerings and all the different combinations. All of those locally sourced as often as possible. Not the Wisconsin cheddar cheese, mind you, but always delivered fresh and with great variety and great prices. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a dandy and do it today.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Making the game last a little longer. Yeah!
Join me, Hacker. And me, Leon Surf.
And Coach Campo. 2 hours after the final whistle on game day. It's the window world of Northeast Florida 5th quarter. Presented by Von Rowan Lawn on 1010XL.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety. There is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Kuhn Flowers and 1010XL encourage you to help those devastated by Hurricane Helene in the Big Bend area of Florida. Kuhn's will be sending a relief truck to Perry, Florida Friday morning to encourage you to stop by their Beach Boulevard location to donate tarps, blankets, first aid kits, bottled drinking water, diapers, flashlights, laundry detergent, towels, and toilet paper. Any amount will help and is appreciated. Their truck leaves Friday morning, so stop by Kuhn Flowers, Beach Boulevard with your donations today.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, why is it that when you look at how long a store has been in business, that it always seems to be the stores like Underwood's that sell fine quality that have been around the longest?
Frank, that's a question that really doesn't get asked a lot, but it should be. There are a number of reasons, but probably the biggest is because of the endorsements our longtime customers and their pieces of jewelry have given us through the years. You see, when you sell really fine quality jewelry, that piece will last longer and always stay beautiful. It might stay in the same family for generations, and through those years of wear, a lot of compliments will be made and a lot of people will be told where the piece of jewelry came from. You see, at a store like Underwood's, it's our stated goal to be the best jeweler in the South, not the biggest, so everything we do and carry has to help move us toward that goal. And ultimately, it's the satisfied customers wearing fine quality jewelry that have kept Underwood's in Jacksonville since 1928.
Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
How long would it take to spend the night in every hotel room in Vegas? The answer next.
With hurricane season now here, the only weather you need to be concerned about is whether your homeowner's insurance policy will cover you in the event of storm damage. Ask about Southern Oak Insurance today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
It would take more than 400 years to spend the night in every hotel room in Vegas.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Every Monday, David Garrard calls the signals and looks for you on Jaguars Today from 10 to noon.
Look past left prong. Oh, we're ready.
Brought to you by WaterboyJacks.com. Duval on 1010XL.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh No's.
With Jaguars.com's John Osher.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
We're trying to work it out. We're trying hard to work it out. As we go through the breaks here, there's nothing easy about this team. The last little tidbit of the conversation Johnny O and I were having there during the break is it does feel like a team. We know right now what they have to do. They need to be able to fall back on Trevor Lawrence, but even that's hard to do, as we were discussing. That it doesn't feel like a team that has a clear identity, that it makes sense that the thing they would have to fall back on is Trevor Lawrence, but what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, and it's hard. I gotta say right at the end, I said I don't know how, and I don't know if you can fix that, and that's probably wrong. It's probably better to say that we don't know how that can happen. It's what they have to figure out, right? And it clearly can happen. You can start clicking in an area and you can start feeling good about what you can depend on. I think that's their challenge. It is trying to figure out maybe what they do well against any defense, against any scheme, and hone in on that. Until you've done it well and they've been sporadic in areas, it's hard to know what that is from our perspective, right? They have run well. That's something that they're starting to be able to hang their hat on. What you don't know is they're running well, but I still don't know if they're a team that can turn around and just hand the ball to the big back anytime it wants to, right? It feels like
it would be nice if they had moments where they felt confidence in that, like they had the opportunity to on Sunday, right? When you get to second and goal at the one, it would be nice to say, we're going to run it into the end zone.
Yeah, well,
I don't care if they know it's coming.
And they know they need to be able to do that. Just haven't been able to do it. In this scheme, you've always heard Press and Doug talk about, they generally speaking, this is outside of 5 and 10 yards in, they generally speaking are not going to run into looks that tell them they should pass. That was how the draw worked the other day, right? They had a call for the right defense. Well, they weren't going to, by the draw, I mean the 58-yarder to Bigsby. Mm-hmm. Had that play come out with a different look defensively, it didn't make that play work, they weren't going to run it. So they very much depend on what the defense is going to show them in the running game. Yeah. And it's a departure from what we all kind of grew up on, which is, hey, we're going to run it.
This is what we do.
And I don't know that you can do that in this league anymore. It's much harder to do. So as a result, it's harder to – I get that late in the game the other day, for example, people were saying, well, you got to run the ball on 1st and 10 when it was 3:51 remaining. Well, you got to run there. Well, they ran on 1st down. Now you're facing 2nd and 10. I got emails saying, well, they should have run twice more. At that point, you're up 3. If you run once more, if you don't get a 1st down and you're punting the ball back, you're giving it to them with a chance to get a field goal.
It was a situation.
Their philosophy is go in the game.
Yeah, it was a situation where Houston had enough control over the clock that them running or passing on those 2 downs didn't ultimately have an effect on the outcome of the game. Right. I didn't feel like if they had gotten a 1st down, it would have had an impact on the
But
the
it was
outcome.
going to be really hard at that point. 2nd and 10, it was going to be really hard to run for the 1st down by running twice.
Sure.
So the philosophy in the league more these days in that spot is, yes, you have to kill the clock, but you got to kill the clock by being able to throw for a first down there. Most teams in that situation, the good ones are going to be able to throw for a first down. And frankly, I thought that was the most underrated play of the game because Trevor didn't make a bad pass on that. The safety got over and made a nice play on 2nd and 10. If the safety doesn't make if the safety doesn't make that play, they probably get a first down. Different end.
I think we're on to something here as far as where the league is right now. And it's never been a more quarterback-centric league. It's always been a quarterback-centric league, but it's never more so than it is right now because of the way teams play offense, because they are so reactionary to what other teams do. There were periods of time where, no, we're a team that's going to run it when we want to run it. Like, that's been long periods of time where that was part of the NFL. Not so much anymore. A little bit more this year than it has been in recent years.
They run more, but they're running because of how defenses are playing.
They think that's where their advantage is on the play. Yeah. So they're trying to play their advantages.
In the past when it was, hey, you try to stop the run, we got to run.
But it is obviously a quarterback-centric league. We know the thing that the Jags are ultimately going to have to fall back on at some point is Trevor Lawrence. They already are. It just isn't. It hasn't been reliable enough in the first month of the season for them to win, some of the games that they've had opportunities to win. So what is right now, in your opinion, the strength of Trevor Lawrence's game?
Sorry to say after the other day because it was not his best game. I don't know. He is seeing the field better. He is growing on that front. I think given time, overall this year, I don't think he has thrown deep as poorly as he did the other day. Mm-hmm. So I want to be careful about sort of taking,
seeing this week's result.
They were the two plays that decided the game. So it's not fair to say that he played well, but because he didn't. But he hit the play to Brian Thomas Jr. There was a nice pass on a similar pass down the field. Statistically, he is not a bad deep thrower. I guess what I'm getting at is that still needs to be the best part of his game, is the deep pass hit it on play action. They need to keep that and basically say, look, we're going to do this till you get it, because he has to get it. What's the best part right now? Probably seeing the field, probably making good decisions. He has to make the throws once he makes the good decisions. Mm-hmm. His decision-making, I don't think, has been poor. But there have been moments, even early in the game, there was a pass to ETN, could have picked up a first down. It was a little flare out to the, I think it was to the right. I may be skewing that. But and you miss it, and it's not a first down. Those moments come back to bite you.
Yeah, it feels like right now they're getting all the protecting of the football you could ever ask for from Trevor Lawrence, and the playmaking has gone away for whatever reason. I don't know if those two things are correlated or related in any way, but they need to figure out how to get those things separated.
It's hard
to the results they're getting.
I'm getting the same kind of questions. It's easy, sort of low-hanging fruit to say, well, he spent so much time worried about interceptions in the offseason. I honestly don't think he's, from talking to him in the offseason about this, I think once or twice, once when I was on a podcast, interceptions wasn't really what the coaches or even he spent a lot of time talking about. Like, point of emphasis was ball protection in the pocket, two hands on the ball.
He's been great at that.
It was not, oh my goodness, you can't make chance throws, right? So I wasn't in the meeting, so I don't know that, but my impression was that was not a bullet point of, hey, you're taking too high risk with the football when you're throwing it. So I don't know that correlates to that's why he's having accuracy issues. I think more, he was asked last week about pressing, says he's not. Any quarterback can say he's not pressing. Is he feeling the effects of knowing that everybody expects him to lift everything? As I answered a question in the Ozone this week, I can't answer that because it's impossible to be in somebody's head. Mm-hmm. It seems logical, and from the play, that could be having an effect.
Going to take a look around the National Football League here in just a moment. Obviously going to react as well. We got the question of the day out there. Tom Coughlin being inducted into the Pride on Sunday against the Colts. Obviously want to pick your brain a little bit about that. Johnny O, you got to cover him when he got here. Which current or soon-to-be member of the Pride, it was your honor, my friend, soon-to-be member of the Pride would most help the Jaguars this season if you got one more year of them in their prime? Your options in the poll: Tony Baselli, Tom Coughlin, Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor. We could have included the other two that are in the Pride in there as well. Donovan Darius immediately went with Burnell, and it speaks to probably his frustration level with Trevor Lawrence at this point. But we'll continue to react to that. But right now, let's take a look around the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Indianapolis has placed defensive end Tyquan Lewis on IR with an elbow injury and signed former Jaguars defensive lineman Adam Gotsis to their active roster. Buffalo Bills outside linebacker Von Miller is being suspended 4 games for a violation of the league's personal conduct policy. Cincinnati defensive lineman Mike Hall has been given a 5-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Hall has been on the commissioner's exempt list for the first 4 games of the season, which will count towards his 5-game suspension, so he will be eligible to return for the Bengals after this week. Dallas has placed defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence on IR with a mid-foot sprain. Atlanta running back Bijan Robinson was listed as a limited participant for the second day in a row on Tuesday with a hamstring injury. The Miami Dolphins will be opening the practice window for wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. today. OBJ was placed on the Fins PUP list to start the season, and Pittsburgh quarterback Russell Wilson will see his practice participation ramp up this week, according to head coach Mike Tomlin. But the play does appear to be Justin Fields, at least for this week's up there in Pittsburgh, as they are 3-1. The Steelers have ruled out linebacker Alex Highsmith for this week, placed guard James Daniel on injured reserve, and there are reports that the Las Vegas Raiders are willing to listen to offers for wide receiver Davante Adams. Reports indicate that those offers would have to include a second-round pick and something else in the deal. I saw that Davante was on with Kay Adams yesterday. He said no one's talked to him about any of this, so who knows where it might be going, could be going with any of that kind of thing. But, Demps, what do you think? Should the Jags be a team that should be interested in making a move for a guy like Davante Adams?
If you thought Davante Adams was going to be all in on being in Jacksonville, then I would absolutely consider it. I mean, look, he's under contract for the next couple of years. You can also extend him and lower that cap hit a little bit. He's only 31. Plenty of receivers play high-level football well into their 30s. Nobody's suggesting that he is, fallen off the cliff in terms of talent and productivity. I just don't know if this is the culture that Davante Adams, if he wants out now, he wanted out, he wanted to go play with this guy, Derek Carr. Derek Carr got traded. Now he wants out.
Yeah.
Things aren't going well there. Like Pittsburgh is being reported this morning that they do have interest in trading for Davante Adams. They've got that culture where they win every year. And Mike Tomlin can handle those guys. And Mike Tomlin won't even tell Justin Fields if he's a starting quarterback and he's 3-1 on the season. So would I give up like a second-round pick and Gabe Davis for Davante Adams? I think it's worth it, but only if Davante is fully on board. I don't think you're ever going to be able to convince me that that's going to be the case. If you've got, and I don't know, I'm not in the locker room every day. I don't know if Doug Peterson's lost the locker room, but I don't think it's crazy to think that 1 or 2 players are going,
Yeah.
When he gets up in the postgame and says, hey, we're calling great games. These guys need to make plays, that they're not taking it as he's putting it all on the players. So there could be some of that going on. I just don't know if this is the environment where Davante Adams would thrive. So for that reason, I would say probably no. But is he worth that value? To me, he is. I mean, Davante Adams, Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk is your top 3 playmakers, and Evan Ingram lining up at tight end. I mean, come on. I get it. Trevor Lawrence needs to play better, but I think that would help.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Mike what he said. If the player wants to be here, certainly that value makes sense. I don't know at 0-4 with what they have spent in free agency in the last couple off seasons, or not last couple, but this off season. I don't know that it would be a move that is on their front burner, but they Trent always leaves room or always tries to leave room for a midseason deal such as that. So I'm kind of with Mike. I would be surprised if it is deemed a fit and surprised if it happens. Value-wise, it would make sense.
Yeah, I think they got the space to do it if they want to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they had some interest in doing it. I'm with you. I don't know how much interest Davante would return right in that kind of situation, especially if Pittsburgh would make some sense for Davante Adams. Kansas City would make some sense.
The Jets.
Yeah, like there are teams that are competitive right now that those options seem better from Davante's side than what's going on in Jacksonville. So I think the Jags could and should show interest in Davante Adams if he truly is available, but there are a lot of teams that could and should show interest, and I would expect they will if he's actually going to be made available in the trade market. He's still, among the top handful, top 10 wide receivers in the National Football League, even at 32.
But the point that Mike made would have to be investigated too. Is he going to want to jump at the first sign of a problem? I don't know him. I'm not close enough to know that. But as Mike alluded to, that sort of feels like, hey, if it's not what I want to leave.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that's not the case.
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. If you're going to make that kind of move, it's a big move. It's a bold move for a team if they're willing to go make that for Davante Adams.
Especially 0-14.
Yeah, for an 0-14, that would be a massive move, no doubt about it. Want to get your reaction to the Doug Peterson lost locker room talk as we finish up here in just a few moments. We'll react to the question of the day today as well, with what member of the Jaguars pride would most help this football team for the rest of 2024. As we'll put a bow on this edition of Jaguars Today coming up next here on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Now, the Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game. Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville.
Jacksonville needed a drive that would give them life while in enemy territory, and the Golden One would lead the way in the team's mission to take back the reins of the ball game. Thanks to a 7-play sequence capped off by a Christian Kirk touchdown, the teal and black would regain the lead with 6:16 left in the third. The 74-yard drive is your Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Pick it here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner, and home to Xerox and HP copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Go ABSinc.com.
Bueller Air & Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson. Welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer it in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions? Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions. Repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity. Making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
He's not Pistol Pete. He's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Firehouse Subs is turning 30. Celebrate with them on Tuesday, October 8th from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Mandarin location. Meet Jacksonville, your favorite Jags players, and the cheerleaders. Join the fun at Firehouse Subs, 9825 San Jose Boulevard in Mandarin.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Can you believe they've been cleaning carpets in Jacksonville now for 20 years? Dave Benyon, his family, and staff are so grateful of things and appreciate you, their great customers. In fact, October's birthday month for Zero Res. So what are we doing for customers? Just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and we'll give you $50 off. That's $50 off carpet, towel, and grout, upholstery, or area rugs. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Hey Jacksonville, it's Lauren Brooks from Helmets and Heels. If your car needs an oil change, now's the perfect time to visit Big Chief Tire. They're offering $10 off your next oil change at any of their 5 locations across Jacksonville. Their expert technicians will get you in and out quickly so your car stays in top shape. Visit BigChiefService.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling. That's BigChiefService.com or 904-932-0950.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners. Do you need chain link fence, commercial steel, or rolling doors? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they can stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. So contact Coyle & Sons today. That's 904-356-4821 or visit them at coiljacks.com.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, fall and winter registration is open. Find out what I-9 Sports offers across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars legend Tom Coughlin will be inducted as the 7th member of the Pride of the Jaguars on Sunday. Coughlin's first draft pick, Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, on one of the main things he will always remember about Coughlin.
Love him, hate him, want to kill him, want to hug him.
Yeah.
The one thing that everyone did in this building, and still to this day for me, is you respect him. You respected Tom Coughlin because he was the same every day. He's the most consistent individual, one of the most disciplined individuals I've ever been around. And he never asked anyone to do anything that he wasn't willing to do.
Tony Baselli on the newest member of the Pride of the Jaguars, Tom Coughlin. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Obviously, we're talking a lot about an 0-4 football team. Donovan Darius joined us in the show for the first hour today, and he had some ideas on what he thought could go specifically with Trevor Lawrence, those kind of things. But one of the topics we've been in on today, and it's a big one across the fan base, with the Schultz interview and talking about having talked to players in the Jaguars locker room, that Doug Peterson has lost the locker room. What is you got to hear from Doug earlier today. What has your reaction been to not only when that broke, but hearing Doug responding to it today?
You never want to hear it. It's in doing this for a long time. There's 53 players in the locker room. When you're 0-4, your team sort of becomes, okay, you're going to go after that story for an 0-4 team because you think it's probably, somebody's going to say it. I'm sure this reporter, I don't know him. No doubt that he heard it. How rampant is it? How real is it? How vehement were the words said? I have no idea. I know that's always at 0-4 when you have expectations. One of the concerns is are the players going to continue to believe in it? I haven't gotten a sense that they don't. But it's always something to watch. So I'm kind of talking around because I don't know this to be true. I have no evidence that it's true. But I do know that when you're 0-4, this is going to be the kind of story that you have to win to get to go away. Does that make?
It does, and it's a story that I think when it gets reported that way, I haven't heard that specifically yet. But when the locker room gets open the next couple of days, all the players are going to be asked this question.
Sure.
Right? Like everyone who's asked the question by a member of the media, they're going to be asked, what is the situation with Doug Peterson and this locker room? It opens the door for that. I'm not saying that every player in the room feels that way.
They're all going to say everything's fine. When you're 0-4, there are going to be things said among players that run the gambit. Just like if you're not happy at work, you're going to tell your buddy, hey, this guy's doing that.
Sure.
How much that manifests itself in terms of preparation, in terms of real belief once you get out on the field, listening to coaches. I didn't see a team the other day that showed me signs of being fragmented on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So players are going to say what they say to each other when they're in groups. There's going to be discussions. But, all I can tell you is what I have felt. I don't get a feeling of a fragmented locker room, but I'm not in the locker room.
Yeah.
In the time where you're really going to hear it. I do know that among professional athletes, things get said, and winning can turn something like that very quickly back to where, hey, let's go.
They're at a point, they've never been the only 0-4 team in the league. This is the first time the Jags have ever been in this specific position.
That's good first.
These kind of things, they come around every once in a while, I do think there's an argument to be made that in the 30 years of the franchise's history, there's never been an early season game that they needed to win more than they need to win this one. I think there's an argument to be made for that, given where everything is. The heat that's on the quarterback, the heat that's on the coach, the heat that's on the locker room now with these comments coming out. You got the Colts coming into town. There's an argument to be made. It's among, if not the most important early season game they've played.
Yeah, it's certainly the early season important game they need to win this week.
There's no doubt.
I think the analogy makes sense. You've never been 0-4, and you've probably never had like a huge early struggle with these sort of expectations.
0-4 with expectations is brutal.
2000, when they're coming off the 99 game, they lost 5 in a row early in a really bad slide that sort of ended that run. Feels like there may have been a couple of games that year that they needed like this, but they had a win. So,
and they won 4 in a row in the back half of the season. If I'm going back
24 years, then I'm going back too far to have anybody care about my comments. Yeah. So,
I think 18 against New England week 2 felt that way going into it, but the results of 18 told that for the lie that it was, right? Like ultimately it wasn't that kind of thing. We feel about it in the moment the way we feel about it. It can go to complete disaster area if they do lose this week.
Yeah.
At least you avoid complete disaster area.
And like I say, when you're 0-4, I think it'd be rare 0-4 not to have some brush fires and weird questions.
Yeah.
It's professional football, and that sort of thing is going to happen when you have professional athletes. I also think that success, winning, and focus can negate a lot of those things in a hurry.
No doubt. The Jaguars Today question of the day, Tom Coughlin being inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars on Sunday against the Colts. Which current or soon-to-be member of the Pride would most help the Jags this season if you got one more year of them in their prime? We turn to Mike Dempsey for the 10-10 take.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by
Double-checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
You know, Tone, when we looked at this question this morning, we thought it might be a two-person race, and that's basically what it is. Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor not getting the most votes here. Look, I can get it. Like, if Freddie T were the guy on that 58-yard run, he would have scored a 62-yard touchdown, right? He's that much faster. So who's to say, would Fred Taylor or Jimmy Smith have provided a couple of victories along the way? Decent chance that would have been the case. I'm looking at it as if, who could you add right now to this roster and where they need the most help? Like Tom Coughlin or any coach coming in right now without a chance to institute his way, his system, his whatever for a full off season. Now, if you go back, maybe that makes a bigger difference. But look, out of these choices, Baselli's the easy one for me. We're still looking at that offensive line and wondering if it measures up. There's no question about a Hall of Famer there. And I think Tony's attitude brings out the best in a lot of players on game day. And if you want to talk about having a guy who has the authority and at times the temperament to kind of go off behind closed doors and get in guys' faces and let them know that the standard's not good enough, I think Tony checks every single box, including what they need on the field right now. If they had a mauler, I mean, Tony's a technician and a mauler. Nobody's going to touch Trevor from the blind side, and nobody's really going to stop you running over left tackle either. So, give me Baselli, which is what most of the respondents are saying today.
He's the one that's in the Hall of Fame. The other three are deserving of it, right? Tom Coughlin's going to get in there soon, I would think. Fred, hopefully soon. Jimmy is a Hall of Fame caliber player. So you have 4 Hall of Fame caliber NFL people in the poll this morning. How would you answer it, John?
I would probably go Baselli for many of the reasons Mike said. For the sake of being different, I'll make an argument for Jimmy. Jimmy was really good at making a play when it was really needed. Could beat double coverage. I keep thinking of the Ravens game in 2000 when he had the 300 yards. If Trevor's missing him, then it wouldn't matter. I get that. But I'll go Jimmy because of the speed, the game-breaking ability. So hard to cover. You feel like he would have gotten one touchdown at some point in these 4 games that might have made a difference. But you're right, Fred wouldn't have gotten caught.
Fred would not have gotten caught. Almost 350 votes in the poll this morning so far. Baselli leading at 62.2%. Tom Coughlin, 22.6%. Fred Taylor, 10%. And Jimmy Smith at 5.3%. Before we wrap it up, let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Hello, Mia.
Hello. How are we doing, gentlemen?
We're doing well. What did you learn from the press conference with Doug Peterson today?
Ooh, what did I learn? I learned that, there's something to the 24-hour rule. There's something to the 48-hour rule. I think that goes beyond football. That goes for life in general. That maybe we're all a little bit, a little calmer and maybe more, not even cerebral. That's probably not the right word, but more open to contentious questions and that's not a critique of Doug. I think I would be the same way. If I lose a game the way that the Jaguars lost a game on Sunday, and if I'm the head coach and, that someone's asking about my job security. And I know that, well, certainly, yes, maybe I haven't been perfect, but there's been a lot of other things that have been at play, even if it ultimately all lands at my feet. And so I do think the injury updates are interesting. I thought Darnell Savage, and again, I'm not a doctor, and I have not been, athletic training him and working with him in his rehabilitation. I thought he would have had a go on it, or wow, words are hard. Would have played on Sunday, John.
Yeah.
at least by virtue of how Doug has described that injury, I think that is a promising sound from what Doug said, that he will be able to go this week, and I think that's a significant upgrade in that secondary.
Yeah, I think with those quadriceps, with some of those injuries, Evan falls into this too. You just want to make sure that these guys are high-tuned machines, right? So you don't want to put them back out there and lose a week. And it feels like with Savage and Ingram, that was sort of, hey, let's just make sure that they're ready to go.
No doubt.
So, yeah, those were encouraging.
And I think that some of that stems from what the Jaguars learned a year ago with Tyson Campbell.
Sure.
And this idea of his hamstring and the fact that maybe he was rushed back a little bit earlier than maybe he should have. And I think that's why they're being conservative with him as well, the fact that he was placed on IR immediately.
Yeah.
And
we'll see if he plays in London, which would be the first chance he'll have to get back on the field, but we haven't heard any word about the path to Tyson getting back out there yet. What's coming up on Helmets and Heels today?
Ooh, a whole heck of a lot. Excited to have my good friend Darren Stoltzfus of West TV down in Orlando join us to break down whose seat is hotter, Billy Napier, Gus Malzahn, following UCF's loss to Colorado. Now a trip to Gainesville on tap for Saturday. We also will have Mia's MyBookie midweek picks. We also will go around the National Football League, hear from Bill Belichick, what he thinks is wrong with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and a whole lot more.
Well, if you're asking him now, you might get an answer. Here in a couple months, you might not. If he ever gets made the coach here in Jacksonville, you can forget getting answers on any of that. If he were to get hired here, we'll be listening.
Look, I mean, there's also a world in which Bill really likes this whole being on TV thing and being on radio and podcasts.
It's a cushier life.
And says, you know what? This is better for my health long term. This is better for my lifestyle. And maybe, even if
they want to hand me a couple $1 million to watch tape and have no results when I'm wrong, that's not bad.
How meteorologists feel. I love you, meteorologists that are listening right now.
No
but no, and also, for what it's worth, as much as we talk about the Jaguars and Bill Belichick's fit, there's a lot of people up there in Philly that also think that he's a fit for them. And so we'll talk not so much about that, but as much as what Belichick's critique of the Jaguars has been. Ben Solik from ESPN penned a great piece as well. And so we'll go through all that coming up on Helmets and Heels.
All right, we'll be listening.
Thank you.
Helmets and Heels coming up next here on 1010XL. Johnny O, what are you going to do to end this most miserable of weeks with the Jags?
Well, hopefully end it with a win, but Ventrell Miller will be our guest on the Ozone podcast.
Nice.
Talking to him tomorrow. I believe the podcast will drop. Is that what the kids say these days, Tony? Drop the podcast?
They don't not say it yet, that I'm aware of.
So that'll drop Friday, and then we'll have the Huddle Up podcast with Bucky Brooks at 4 p.m. today.
All right. Mike Dempsey, I knew that you weren't going to be able to be in here on Tuesday. I suspected Wednesday you wouldn't be either. So I took it easy on you in the breakfast bowl this week. I'll bring you breakfast tomorrow, my friend.
Took it easy. Dylan and I are on a 24-hour hunger strike. Cheat day for me tomorrow. I am eating good, buddy.
It's all good. I will bring you the breakfast as Dempsey will be back in studio with us tomorrow. That'll do it for us, for Donovan Darius, for Johnny O, for Dylan Denmark, for Mike Dempsey. I'm Tony Smith. Helmets and Heels coming up next here on 1010XL.
Jaguars.